Tell me, what is Consolidated XL?
Consolidated XL is a cloud-based Excel add-in for Office 365 which provides over 90 functions to hot-link Excel to your Xero, QuickBooks, or Sage accounting information, which is refreshed within seconds when you open your Excel spreadsheet. So you can build your own consolidated balance sheet, P&L, income statements, cash flow, debtors report, forecast cash flow, stock profit, key performance indicator reports and many more all in one sheet, plus add your own graph, data, or formulae, using the power of Excel. But of course it could be a report for a single company, and with cost center analysis breakdown, such as sales reps analysis of sales in your company, or for commission calculations. It's not just for consolidation. Would you like to see a quick demo, Jim?
Yes, please, but does that work on any platform?
Yes, for PC, Mac and even Excel for the web, and it's really easy to enable.
Okay, show me it in action then.
Let's start by opening the Consolidated XL task panel from the Installed button, on the ribbon bar. In the Consolidated XL task panel we can see our list of connected companies, and the 3 demo companies used for evaluation. These companies can be a Xero, Sage or QuickBooks company. They are automatically assigned a short 6-character code, used to identify them in the Excel functions. These codes can be edited using the Options button adjacent to each company.
And I just use that Add button above the company list to connect to a Xero, QuickBooks or Sage Online company.
Yes, that's right. And your customer data is fully encrypted to ensure no data leaks. Now let's use one of the Consolidated XL wizards. I'll select the Income Statement wizard from the list. First we see an intro explaining what this particular wizard does. Let's press Start button. On the second page of the wizard, we can select the companies we wish to consolidate from our list of connected companies. Consolidated XL will then extract a list of all GL account codes common to the 3 companies automatically and generate the income statement sheet for us. On the next page we can select the period types. We could opt to have 12 financial periods shown for each of the companies selected, or by X periods. In this case I'll select 4 quarters. Next we have options to add extra cost center analysis. We cover this in another video. So I'll just press Next button again. The final page of the wizard allows us to select formatting options. It optionally includes cell notes explaining the design of the sheet for your own customization after, or hiding the first 10 rows which contain some calculations we will discuss in a moment. We will select to format the cells with no decimal points and minor formatting. Now let's press Create. Consolidated XL is now creating a report, using its Excel functions to get the data from its highly optimized database, we call FAST, which stands for Financial Accounting Summarization Table.
Wow.
This table summarizes all financial information by financial or calendar periods, quarters and weeks so the figures are retrieved as fast as possible.
And can other people have access to this report?
Yes, you can invite other people to have access to the reports. Again from that Settings menu, below the company list. We can now see we have a monthly income statement for the last 4 quarters, which we can now graph, print, or send out. And because this report is built on Excel functions we can change the reporting periods, rearrange the chart of accounts, add budget info, or our own calculations for cash flow predictions, etc. See the video description below for tutorials and how to get started. Now, as I said earlier, the top 10 rows of the report can be hidden. These contain a series of formula. In rows 3 to 8 we provide the functions in each column, the data to get figures from the specified company, for year and period, and optionally filter by cost centers. For example, if I change the rep code to Rep Sam, we see the figures change in the report, but you can see the criteria being repeated in row 8. This means you can control what is being hot linked in each column of data, allowing the consolidated data to be rearranged if need be. For instance, if I change the rep to Tim in the quarter 3, we see the figures for Tim being brought through in the column below. Also note to bring the total for year through we have asked for period 199, in column I to get the total for all periods, regardless of the number of reporting periods. If I change the age by period to weeks, you can now see we have by weeks and the period headings changed automatically. Or of course we can change to accounting periods. Again, the headings change to reflect the periods. Now let's reset the rep filter changes we made by dragging the formula back. We can even change the currency the report is in. For example, if we were working in pounds sterling, but reporting to a parent company in US dollars. Consolidated XL will perform the calculation for us, based on an hourly updated currency conversion rate. And now let's go back to home currency. So now we are back in pounds sterling. Now let's look at some great drill down to see the transaction details and visualize the figures. If I click on the Trans option at the top of the Consolidated XL task panel, I can see the transactions which make up the figures currently selected in the sheet. Here we can see nominal journals, but the same will work for stock movements, invoices, and credit notes. Drilling down into the detail, we can even perform a text search on this data, looking for any text or value, say figure of 208. And from the Options menu, copy this data to paste into Excel if need be. Now let's visualize our data with Consolidated XL Quick Charts. Here we can see under the History tab, the last 5 years of data for whatever we currently have selected, applying any selected cost center filters if need be, such as Rep SAM. In the top column chart we can see the last 6 months turnover by weeks. Next we have by month. Then quarters followed by each year.
Oh, that gives a great overview of sales or costs if selected, I suppose.
Yes, it's great. And we can compare the last 3 years periods easily too. Again by weeks, months and quarters. And even copy the image of the chart to the clipboard to add to a report, or pop in an email, quickly reporting to your boss or customer. Of course you can use Excel to do more complex charting. Let's delete that. We can also see pie charts by cost center breakdown. In this example by reps. The charts report in periods, quarters, etc. depending on the sheet age by options we saw earlier. Or a total for the year. And of course we can copy and paste that for quick report creation. Due to the unique design we can even graph calculated totals such as net profit. Unfortunately my demo data company seems to be making a spectacular loss.
Oh dear, I do feel sorry for them.
Yes, it's a shame. Let's quickly hone in on the formula in each column. I'll double-click on G29, and let's overlay the function and parameters on the screen. So we are using function GLVal, which gets the value of general ledger account 200 from the first demo company for year 2023 period 3. The two parameters after the period 3 are for cost centers and departments in Sage Accounting, also known as tracking codes in Xero and classes and locations in QuickBooks. In this example I left Rep SAM in the formula, as an example. The last option is optional, as by default, it will get the figures by accounting periods. But W will get by weeks, C will get by calendar months, AQ will retrieve by financial accounting quarters. The online help will explain all this. See, we have even put a link in to help.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Here is the syntax of the function and the parameters listed below. We also have a series of training videos on these too.
So how often is the data synced with the accounts software?
It will be synced once a day, on the hour of your choosing. Or manually updated at any time from the settings button down below. If you have the Pro version, then we plan more times per day.
What do you mean by the Pro version?
Well, the standard version gives access to the chart of accounts and general ledger values. The Pro version adds extra functionality, such as customer, vendor, stock turnover and stock profit based on last cost. Age debtors info and even a forecast of money coming in and out, based on predicted payment dates. If no predicted payment dates are entered, the average payment days for the whole company or customer history are used.
Have you got anything else to blow my mind?
Yes. I think I might have. You see the functions we see here, we call the granular functions, since they each get data for a cell. But we have a whole set of functions which spill an array of data into the sheet. And get so much back with little effort. Let's go back to the wizards and select Company Dashboard, which is in early preview. Again, the first page gives a description. Let's press the Start button. It has remembered the companies we consolidated earlier, which we can change, but we will stick with those. Let's press the Next button. And on the final page, we have again some options to change the formatting again. It remembers your last selection. Now let's create the report. It just takes a few seconds. If I zoom out, we can now see 3 sections for the 3 companies, repeated down the sheet. The idea is you can now rearrange into your own order, add extra lines or add charting, etc. Let's zoom back in to explain how it works. In column D, we have the codes we are extracting in light gray. And in column E, we have functions that spill data into the other columns.
So the top section titled Key GL Accounts looks as if it has a couple of general ledger accounts in column D.
Yes, that is right. The top row has an arrow up, as a special code, to get the headings into the adjacent row. So if I change the number of periods, you can see the number of columns change. I enter 12, which gives 12 weeks of history, and we see the function spill another 4 periods, to make 12 periods of data. And of course, I could change to the normal financial accounting periods. And again, filter by Cost Center Rep, SAM. Note the Cost Center filter works with non-balance sheet items only. Let's put that back to none.
So why do some of the codes have hash symbols in front of them?
Oh, those are the heading codes for the general ledger accounts. Each wizard generates a sheet called CXL lookups. Here, we can see all these heading values for the companies we selected in the wizard. They may vary according to the brand and country of the accounts package. Further down, more codes enable us to get a whole general ledger account category, or even a whole report such as a balance sheet or income statement. The codes beginning with #calc get a total for all the major heading totals in the balance sheet or income statement. So for example, #calc net profit would get the net profit in one line on its own for the number of periods asked for. I guess you could say you can extract the chart of accounts at 4 different levels, and 5 in the case of QuickBooks, since a general ledger account can be a heading as well. Let's go back to the dashboard sheet. In row 16, we see we have the code #revenue, which gets all under the revenue heading. At the end of the heading code, we also have some strange characters after the code. Let me explain them. The #revenue code on its own will get the total for that heading. Then, if I add full stop, we get all children under the heading. Now let's add arrow up, to add heading, plus, greater than, to filter all 0 value lines.
Wow, I can see that function is very flexible. It does a lot. Can you show me the formula in detail?
Yes, a lot of the parameters are optional, so let's start with the basics. Let's double-click on E10 to see the cells we reference. Again, we start with the company code, general ledger account code. But this can also be the account heading, category or report type, which I'll show in a second. Then the number of periods in columns to show in addition to the year-to-date figure, followed by the cost center and department filter. I left SAM in there as an example. And finally, A, standing for, by accounting periods. which, if changed to W, gives periods by weeks, just like before. Again, a link takes you to online help. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, that's really flexible.
Let's just show one more thing as Mr. Jobs used to say.
Okay.
Let's change the code to #reportpl. Now, we get a #spill error because Excel cannot display the data since it overwrites content already in the adjacent cells. That is a real got you error. We could make more space, but let's just move to the bottom of the report and use the code there. I'm going to paste the code, #reportpl, into the cell because I'm lazy. Now we can see we have a whole income statement in one function call, which can be filtered by rep.
Nice.
And if we add the special codes back in, such as arrow up, to add heading, and greater than, to remove all zero value lines, we get the profit and loss without the zero value rows.
Wow, that's good.
And now if I change the code to #reportball, we now see the balance sheet. Let's just filter the zero lines out, using greater than. And we are finished.
Consolidated XL is a kind of secret wand for financial wizardry. That's been great, and thanks for watching. See the video description for more information.